Good evening and welcome to the evening news. I am Kayode Adebayo. The National Assembly has urged the Central Bank of Nigeria to extend the deadline for acceptance of the old Naira notes. However, the Central Bank of Nigeria is insisting there is no going back on the January 31 deadline despite a motion by the lawmakers. The resolution made by the National Assembly is coming after the Nigerian Governors Forum, Bank Customers Association of Nigeria, and a host of other stakeholders have expressed concerns and made appeals for CBN to extend the period for the currency swap as well as review of the cashless policy. The decision of the House to ask for the extension followed a motion of urgent public importance moved by Sada Soli during plenary. Moving the motion, Soli said banking and other financial institutions are struggling to cope with the rush by citizens to change their old currencies to new notes, just as the shortage of new notes is creating panic. It was learned that the deadline for the due date is 4 days left to phasing out old 1,500 and 200 Naira notes, and the lawmakers have asked the CBN to extend the deadline by 6 months till July 31st. The federal government has approved the total sum of 10.08 billion Naira for the Ministry of Aviation. The Minister of Aviation, Adi Serika, revealed this to the State House correspondents shortly after exiting the council chambers of the State House, Abuja. At the time of his exit, however, the meeting was ongoing. The minister said that the approval comprises 7.48 billion Naira for the rehabilitation and reconstruction of the Adejia Airstrip, Jigawa State, 1.97 billion Naira for the construction of a control tower and technical building at the Akano Ibiam International Airport, Enugu, and the 625.50 million Naira for the procurement of utility vehicles for the ministry. Meanwhile, the minister also apologized to air travelers for the industrial action of the National Union of Air Transport Employees, the Air Transport Services Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, which altered inbound and outbound flight operations last Monday. He explained that there are other ways of channeling issues when they arise, but they are not permitted to go on strike because aviation is an essential service. It will be recalled that local and international flights were disrupted for several hours as workers under the Nigerian Aviation Handling Company declared a warning strike over poor pay. The Senate has confirmed the nomination of the former Inspector General of Police, Solomon Arase, for appointment as chairman of the Police Service Commission. The confirmation followed the consideration of the report of screening of the nominee presented by Senator Ali Rujika-led Committee on Police Affairs during plenary. It was learned that President Muhammadu Buhari had earlier requested the Senate to confirm the appointment of Arase as the new PSC chairman. The president, in a letter read during plenary by the president of the Senate, Ahmad Lawan, said the appointment was in accordance with the provision of Section 154, subsection 1 of the 1999 Constitution. With his confirmation, Arase replaces Musliu Smith, who resigned as chairman recently. The federal government of Nigeria has approved a new trade union, the Amalgamated Union of App-Based Transport Workers of Nigeria, OTWAN. The new union, IT-based transportation services, comprises all app-based transport workers, online transport services, and e-hailing drivers and operators. Minister of Labour and Employment, Chris Ngige, presented a letter of approval to the union in Abuja. Ngige noted that the informal sector, which constitutes the largest population of workers, is being formalized across the world, adding that the federal government is breaking new ground with those who are employing themselves and from there employing others. The Ataoja of Oshogbola and Obajima Olanipekun Laraoye II has appealed to the electorate in Osun State to collect their permanent voters card at various offices of the Independent National Electoral Commission. He described the collection of PVC as the only power to make the desired change in the country ahead of the general elections. Ataoja made the appeal while playing host to the Osun State Resident Electoral Commissioner, Dr. Mutiu Agbuke, in his palace. While reaffirming the traditional institution's support for INEC, Obajima Olanipekun stressed that the future of millions of Nigerians rests heavily on the outcome of the polls. Earlier, in his address, the Osun State Resident Electoral Commissioner, Dr. Mutiu Agbuke, who was on advocacy visit to the palace, commended the monarch on his fatherly role. He, however, lamented the refusal of some of Osun residents to collect their permanent voters' cards. Osbc said that all measures have been put in place to ensure free, fair, and credible general elections. The governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party in Abia State, Professor Eliezer Ikone, is dead. In a statement on behalf of his family by Dr. Chikeze Uche, Ikone said Ikone died today in Abuja. Dr. Uche Ikone explained that the deceased was recovering after taking proper treatment in the United Kingdom, but relapsed a few days ago, leading to multiple cardiac arrests for which he didn't recover from. Chikeze said further details on burial arrangements will be made known to the public after family meetings. The Nigerian Center for Disease Control and Prevention has recorded 105 confirmed Lassa fever cases and 7 deaths this year. This is according to the Week 2 Lassa fever situation report obtained from the NCDC website, adding that the cases were confirmed from 30 local government areas and 10 states in the country. The situation report from January 9 to 15 this year showed that there were 369 suspected cases. According to the World Health Organization, Lassa fever is known to be endemic in Benin, Ghana, Guinea, Liberia, Mali, Sierra Leone, Togo, and Nigeria, but probably exists in other West African countries as well. There were reports from Ondo, Edo, Ebonyi, Bauchi, Benue, Kogi, Imo, Oyo, and Nasarawa State, with at least one confirmed case across 30 local government areas. The Senate has observed a 1-minute silence in honor of the slain Niger priest, Isaac Achi, who was burned to death in the Paikoro local government area in Niger State. The point of order was raised by the Niger East lawmaker, Senator Sani Musa, who cited Orders 42 and 51 to seek the leave of the Senate to present a motion on the gruesome murder of the Reverend Father Isaac Achi. This is coming 2 weeks after the gruesome murder of the priest, as they also called for the probe and arrest of the culprits. It will be recalled that terrorists on the 15th of this month burnt the Catholic priest alive in his church when they could not gain access to the well-fortified building where the priest was living. Archie, until his untimely death, was the Kafin Koro Deanery of the Mina Diocese of Niger State and the Reverend Father in charge of St. Peter and Paul Catholic Church, Kafin Koro. Now to sports. European champions Italy will face Spain, while the host Netherlands will take on Croatia in the UEFA Nations League semi-finals in June. The Dutch opened the finals against World Cup semi-finalist Croatia in Rotterdam on June 14 before the other last 4 clash in Estede the following day. Spain beat Italy 2-1 in the semis of the last Nations League in 2021 before losing to France in the final. This year's final will take place in Rotterdam on June 18, hours after the top place playoff in Estede. And now to the foreign scene. Iran has imposed sanctions on 34 individuals and entities from the European Union and Britain in reaction to similar measures taken over Tehran's response to months-long protest. The measures came 2 days after the EU and Britain slapped another round of sanctions on Iran, which has been rocked by protests since the September 16 death of Mahsa Amini. The sanctions include financial measures with the blocking of accounts and transactions in Iran's banking systems, as well as prohibition of visa issuance and entry to Iran, the foreign ministry said. Tehran accused the people and organizations of supporting terrorism and terrorist groups, instigating and encouragement to terrorist acts and violence against Iranian people. It also accused them of interfering in the domestic affairs of the Islamic Republic of Iran and fomenting violence and unrest. Iran had warned of a reciprocal action a day after the EU imposed its 4th round of sanctions against Britain since the protests started, placing 37 more officials and entities on an asset freeze and visa ban blacklist. And that ends the evening news on Osbc TV. Please join us at 7 for major reports. Good evening.